All right, welcome everyone back to another episode 221 actually, of the Broker to Broker podcast. I'm your host, Mark Summers, founding president of AIME. Today, I'm always very excited about all the guests, but this one, I'm going to shoot you straight. LC, I don't think I've ever met you before, but I can't wait to get to know you, see what you're about. I mean, I know what we have in store is going to be great. It's going to hit home on a lot of different avenues. So, without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our next guest for this episode. Today, we welcome mortgage broker of C2 Financial Corporation, LC Parker. LC, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark, for having me. It's a great honor to be here.
Well, we're going to have fun doing this, my man. So, with that being said, we do have quite a few people that we get from this podcast because, listen, AIM is one of our missions is to grow the broker channel. You know what I mean? And some of that sometimes is getting it from the retail channel, and they really love these episodes. And you came from retail, didn't you, LC? So why don't you do this? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about your transition from retail over to the broker space?
Sure. Well, I spent the first 12 and a half years of my career in the consumer finance industry. We had a small mortgage division, and in part of that, I was licensed as a mortgage loan originator early in my career. Started as a manager trainee, became a branch manager, and then became a district manager, and then was my last position was as associate director of operations and vice president over half the state of Alabama. So I made the decision to do something different, and that just happened to be mortgage brokering in the wholesale channel. And I haven't looked back. July will be a year that I've been licensed with C2 brokering loans. And I'm excited to be a part of this channel. I'm excited to deliver the benefits of working with a mortgage broker to my community and to the states that I operate in.
Yeah, well, you said a key word in there for me, something I hold near and dear to my heart, which is Alabama. Myself and my family, we go down to Alabama every year to vacation for pretty much spring break. So I love Alabama. It's a great state. They treat us well there. So when you made the transition, what was like one of the biggest things you were like, oh wow, this is way different than I thought, or this is actually pretty cool?
Well, I think one of the biggest transitions that I had coming from a direct lender would be the autonomy that we had in the sense of underwriting our own loans. That would have been a big struggle for me because in the direct channel, we were the loan officer, we were the underwriter. We did it all, and that was a struggle at first, but overcome those. And in the wholesale channel, working with underwriters at our wholesale partners is very easy. It's not as challenging as I thought it would be. And one of the great things that I like is, the ability for us to help people that are underserved by retail channel, and watching our market share grow year over year.
Yeah. Well, what made you take that leap though? Because when you say like you used to basically do everything, including the underwriting and qualifying them, all that good stuff, most people are control freaks about that and would almost love to do that. What made you take that leap over to this side and kind of give up that control?
Well, I mean, culmination of different things, really. I loved the company I worked for. I had that's the only thing I'd done since I graduated college. But I wanted to do something on my own. I wanted to venture out and make my own brand, so to speak. And being a wholesale broker and being with C2 allows me to um, have that additional autonomy and work how I want to work, and provide a quality service at a quality price for all consumers looking to either buy or refinance their home. There's just a lot more flexibility with pricing, and things of that nature.
Yeah, there definitely is. And a question I have for you is, and I get all different answers, and I think sometimes it's the area that you're in, the type of company that you worked with, but Was there any misconceptions when you came over here that you were like, oh God, that was not true, what everyone in the retail world was telling me about being a broker?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's still a lot of misinformation. I mean, I deal with it. I'm not going to say regularly, but I still deal with people that tell me, "Hey, yeah, your rates might be a little lower, but your fees are higher." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's look at a loan estimate from a retail lender and let's compare them." I had one just last week. Matter of fact, it was Friday that I had, and then Monday I'm in an event with some people, and somebody made the exact comment that, oh, his rates are a little lower, but his fees are higher. Now, bear in mind, this person's never done business with me, has never looked at a loan estimate of mine, so they wouldn't know that for fact. It's just misinformation. Well, I went back and looked at a loan estimate that we had from a large retail lender and compared it to ours. And two things stood out immediately. Was, first of all, the rate on our loan estimate, which was locked, was 6.25 versus that retail lender was at 6.375. Not only did that save the customer $3,900 over 5 years, because most people are going to keep their mortgage open for an average of 5 years. But the cash to close on our loan product, and again, it's apples to apples. It was the same VA product, the same loan amount. Was $4,300 less cash to close on our end versus the retail competitor. So overall, they were going to save 80 something $100 um, over the course of 5 years, with 4,000 of that being immediate savings.
See, that's amazing. See, and those are the stories that I feel we need to continue to tell, and not only just tell ourselves and tell retail, but literally tell consumers. You know what I mean? And that's a big push I know we're making here. So when it came to your operations and leadership background, you were associate director of operations and VP. How have those skills that, let's be honest here, retail taught you transferred over?
Well, I think that a lot of times what I tell people when I'm working with them, and when I'm talking to realtor partners, is that I've had all kinds of conversations in my career. I've had good conversations, I've had bad conversations. I'm not afraid to have any conversation with anybody. And I think that that's the breakdown that a lot of people that work with me see, is that communication is one of my most important factors of why people choose to work with me, because I'm not afraid to tell bad information. Obviously, I love to tell good stuff, but when it is bad, we as brokers have the ability to pivot, and I use that word weekly. Sometimes with loan files is okay. This particular product didn't work out for various reasons. Let's pivot and do it this way and get the loan closed for the customer. We're going to get it done cheaper. We're going to get it done faster. We're going to get it done better. Those are the things that I think that leadership and my operational experience has done for me becoming a broker, is my ability to communicate, because having led, one branch as a branch manager, 8 branches as a district manager, and then 25 as an associate director, encompassing, 50 to 100 employees, I had to communicate, didn't have a choice, and that's what made me successful then. And that's what's really, allowed me to be successful in my first almost year of brokering loans, is my ability to effectively communicate. And yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
No, that's good. Yeah, no, communication is obviously one of the biggest tools that I think we have above everyone else, and you hit the nail on the head with that. And another thing that I want to know about here, LC, is that, listen, the best people in the world, they steal other people's stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe not physically stealing it, but like, oh, that's a great idea. Now let's enhance it, right? And do things like that. What systems or processes from that retail side have you brought into your brokerage that are helping you grow?
Well, I think the ability to be able to market that's always a big thing that we did. Um, was marketing, whether it's social media, whether it's word of mouth. We did not pay for advertising. We did we just strictly did word of mouth. The direct lender that I worked for had been around for 70 years and was reputable, and so I just built upon that the premise of that if you do good by people and you do a good honest job for them, then they are going to be the projector of your future business, which means that they're going to spread by word of mouth and increase referrals. And so I guess that's one takeaway that I would say that I've used um, in expanding my mortgage brokerage success.
What about your guys' loan origination system? What did you guys use in retail, and what are you using now?
We had a proprietary software that we used, and I'm using Arrive. Um, for the first 11 or 12, well, for probably the first 10 years, we used an old DOS system, believe it or not, black and white. And then, of course, they developed their proprietary software probably, like I said, 3 or 4 years ago. But when I came over to the brokerage channel, I did look at Encompass, I did look at Arrive, I did look at Lending Pad, and ultimately I chose Arrive as my LOS.
No, Arrive's great. They're doing great things. We get tons of support from them. Yeah, a lot of our brokers are on Arrive, which is nice. Um, so let me ask you a question here. With your, we'll call it your experience, what advice would you give to brokers right now that are either struggling to get organized or they want to scale more efficiently? What advice would you give them?
I think that the biggest thing that you can do in getting efficient is basically lining out your day. Don't just drink water out of the fire hose, as they say. And then that's going to allow you to streamline your processes to um, be able to scale from that. I myself, have had growing pains the last year, and more specifically, probably the last 2 or 3 months, where I've outlined everything I need to do, usually the evening before the next day, and I make sure that I, complete those tasks. If I hit a roadblock, then I write down what I need to do, and then I circle back before the end of the day to make sure that the task is complete and get whatever it is that I need to get done.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and the more and more I ask this question, especially in these times right now where people do have a little bit more time, you're just not picking up a phone right now and getting a mortgage. Like you have to fight for it. What I've learned a ton from all of our guests is that, having a plan and sticking to that plan and extracting data from it is what really, really helps people scale their business. I think a lot of times people have a good idea of what they want to do, but they don't know how to follow it out.
Right. Yeah. And I think that, being able to not only write out the idea, but also implement it is key. Um, Staying on the phone, with referral partners, calling realtors. I had a friend of mine that asked me, hey, how are you getting all this business? And, I'm not saying I'm getting a pile of it, but, I'm probably on average putting 5 to 7 loans in my pipeline every month. And of course, getting them to the finish line to funding. And I just say, hey, you've got to stay on the phone. You've got to stay in contact with referral partners. Um, Call realtors, call attorneys, call financial planners. And tell them, hey, look, we've got programs that your regular brick and mortar retail banks don't have, whether it be no overlays, whether it be quicker turn times. And then, of course, you add the individualized service that you get in the broker channel, which is, that one on one, where you start with one loan officer taking the application, and you finish with the same loan officer funding that deal. It's not changing hands 2 and 3 times during the process like you could see in retail. I just had that conversation with a referral partner last week that said that they had started out with one loan officer, and by the time it was done, they'd probably talked to 2 or 3 different ones in the retail channel at the same bank.
Yeah, that's tough. We want things personalized, and probably, 9 out of 10 people, this is the biggest financial decision they're going to make. So they want someone, you know what I mean? And we all go through that, even if we know like a car salesman, someone, a financial planner, whatever the case may be, we want them to take care of us because we connected with them for some reason. You know what I mean? And I get production assistance and all that stuff, but at the same time, that's what really separates us right there, is the fact that we're able to stay with that file the entire time. So when you switched over, I want to talk, I kind of want to go back to that a little bit here, because we do have a lot of people branching out. We do have a lot of people growing their shop. What was your biggest hurdle, would you say, or your biggest win when you switched over in that first year?
Well, I can tell you exactly pretty much how it happened. Again, I spent 12 years in the consumer finance business slash subprime mortgages, if you will, HPMLs. Um, so I studied guidelines. I studied all the government agency products, a lot of the non-QM stuff. I spent several months reading on that, getting the basics down, and then asking, because each lender has specific overlays that we use, and figuring out which partners I could work with best. And then basically my first really win was for a first responder that had went to 3 different banks before coming to me, and had gotten turned down for an FHA loan. I looked at the income. I took it to a wholesale partner. They agreed with me 100% on how the income was calculated, and we were able to get that loan funded. Whereas 3 other retail banks had told this guy no. He had good credit, he had a good job, he had reserves. They were just road stopping him, and really that propelled my business, and that propelled me personally to be able to help people that have been told no by other banks. And if we as a channel can get out there in front and be the first stop for people, then we're going to be able to alleviate these home buyers and these people that need refinancing from going through all these unnecessary roadblocks that they might have in other channels, such as the retail direct side.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's amazing the stories that I hear, or have actually been a part of, where people say, "Yeah, I'm just going to be honest with you. We got turned down a month ago," and I'm looking at their file like this is a slam dunk. Like what is going on over there? But I look at it as, hey, they lost out on it. I'm going to gain another client, and hopefully get another referral out of it. So I love it when when retail turns down those people. It's like, just come right on over. We got you. So looking back on year one and all that you've gone through, if you were speaking to someone right now who's about to start, what would be your piece of advice to them?
Well, I think that the main thing would be is to align yourself with somebody or a company that offers mentorship. I mean, even though I've been in the finance business for 13 years, even though I have a bachelor's in economics and I'm finishing my MBA in finance in August, it took me about a month to realize, hey, I need some help. And C2 is a great partner, and C2 aligned me with a mentor that I talked to. And neither one of us had an obligation to choose each other. We just had a discussion, and we both agreed that we could partner, and he could mentor me. And that's, I guess, the main thing that I would talk to somebody about if they did not have experience in brokering loans. Um, because again, I had a lot of experience in finance and mortgages, but I needed that additional help getting into the broker space for the first, you know, 5 to 10 loans.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that, that I think is a huge resource, because when I got started in this business, I only had my broker owner and the other loan officers in that shop to rely on and to learn from. But AIM and its community, you can learn a ton from them. And yes, I'm getting on a soapbox right now, but that Brokers Are Best Facebook group page, I mean, you can gain friendship, you can gain business ideas, you can gain so much from that. And I tell people all the time, we always go through a part in our journey where we feel alone. Well, AIM and its community, you don't have to ever feel alone. You know what I mean? All you got to do is reach out to someone, and they're going to be open arms and willing to take you in and help you out. So, no, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, which is like aligning yourself with someone who's going to help you. You know what I mean? It's no one likes feeling left alone. You know what I mean? Maybe at times, but no one likes to be alone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I can actually elaborate on that with AIM. I joined AIM as soon as I came to the broker channel. I got my license transferred over for Mississippi in July. I immediately joined AIM. I immediately dove in and met people through our brokers or best group. Um, we had the AIM conference Fuse in New Orleans last year. It's 2 hours from my house. I made the plans to be down there for those 3 days, and it was great experience. Met a lot of great people that would literally, take time out of their busy day to help you do anything with no expectation of anything given to them. And that's what I think is key about AIM. That's what I think is key about um, the trade association, is that we really are wanting the best for the channel, because at the end of the day, and I've heard Jonathan Haddad and several others talk about this, is the market share that we have to gain from retail is exponential. So it's not individual brokers competing with each other. And the partnership with AIM and the membership and the ability to be able to easily access people that probably some of them know more about mortgages than I'll ever know in my lifetime, um, is a great tool and a great benefit, and has really allowed me to scale and service my customers better. Talking about being, alone and on an island. I mean, I'm a mortgage broker in South Mississippi. Okay. I'm licensed in Mississippi and Alabama, looking at expanding in a couple more states next year, perhaps. But I would venture to say, as far as being a mortgage broker, there aren't too many others out there that are maybe feel more alone than me sometimes, just as a one-man shop. But our community, I've met countless people through AIM and other associations in the broker space, that I can talk to at any time. That if I have a question or anything, or we just talk about life in general. Those friendships are going to be with me for the duration of my career, for the duration of my life, and I cherish those. I truly do.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. That makes us feel good. The whole team makes us feel good about what we're doing here. So I'll see. Listen, I got one more question for you. And I appreciate your time and everything that you've given us today. But the question I have is, you came for 10, 12 years in a higher rate environment than we are in. You know what I mean? In terms of, you guys weren't able to give as many, as good of rates as we could. And now that you've been in the broker channel coming up on a year here, what is your mindset? Like when you get up or you plan your day the evening before, what is your mindset every single day in order to be successful?
Well, I mean, the last several months, I've really tried to expound on there's a saying or a term that I'm probably going to butcher, but I'm going to use it anyway, is be better tomorrow than you were today. And that's really what I try to live by. If I have something that goes awry today, then I'm going to learn from it immediately and have corrective action for the next day so that I don't repeat that same mistake or whatever the case may be. But getting up every day, being determined to serve everyone that's in the realm of either A, buying a house, B, refinancing a home, buying investment property, whatever the case may be. That's my determination every day, is to make sure that everybody that I know and everybody that they know knows that I do loans, that I do mortgages, knows that I'm in the broker channel, knows that we're wholesale. And like I explain to people every day, I'm like, look, you think about it like this: we're wholesale. If I'm a hairstylist and I buy my hair cutting products from a distributor at wholesale, and then in turn I sell those in my shop at retail prices, there's obviously a markup there, right? So in wholesale mortgage brokering, it truly is cheaper. It truly is faster. It truly is better. And then that's one thing that I always make clear is, you're not going to get more personalized service. You're not going to get better terms. And you're not going to have any better experience in your mortgage process than by using a mortgage broker in the wholesale channel.
Well said, my friend. Well said. I always say we're the Costco of mortgages, but it's the same analogy here. So, hey, LC, thank you for joining us today. Love hearing everyone's story. You're obviously doing the right thing. And you're a perfect example of, if anyone out there listening needs something, I know you could reach out to LC and he would help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell people this: if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer, but I will find the answer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mark. Appreciate y'all having me. Appreciate AIME, everything it does for the broker channel. Let's get out there and make loans cheaper. Let's make loans faster, and let's make their experience better by using a mortgage broker.
Well said. Well said. All right, brokers, if you want to catch up on all of our past podcast episodes, as well as other AIME Network podcasts, please head over to aimgroup.com/broker to broker. You can also listen and watch all AIME Network podcasts episodes on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify, pretty much anywhere where you can get podcasts. If you're on YouTube, a lot of great content on there. I know Jonathan and Tommy, they have one as well, but our handle's at AIME National for more great wholesale content. Everyone else, please rate our podcast, leave a review. It helps us spread the word that brokers are best. And LC, you're one of them, my man. You have a great day.
Y'all too. Thank you.